Wilke from Germany. He's won X Games medals before, and he runs Frito magazine. Van Homan, do I even first, because you can watch the other riders go. If Ezekiel can seize the moment here in the finals, this morning he didn't even think he was going to ride. Judges have a phenomenal vantage point. If we don't see something in the booth or don't call one trick opposite, or yes, backflip tail whip.
I wasn't the first person to be called up, I was the second. I'm gonna take my moment.
Some of our many highlights, this backflip tail whip, you see that he kicks his left leg, having the back end of that frame come around. You see he has to pocket, pull with some body English, getting back into that transition, and he keeps the flow going, and he's got the tricks with that Superman seat grab.
So Stu Chisholm was on the bubble. He was our 15th place qualifier.
Stu also is recently a father in the last few years, and that's really fueled his riding to a whole nother level, going for that top podium spot.
Yeah, and even if, you know, sometimes it's just good just to get out, spin those legs, feel out those tricks that you want to do, even though you know, okay, I'm going to have to make up for it in run number 2.
Tail whip over the spine, and then now he's trying to get the back wheel, boogie, boom! Or at least started by the time the buzzer starts, right? If a rider's in a combo or something's going on. But to be honest here, our 4 judges really celebrate BMX at this event. They know it's not an Olympic qualifier, and they know that it's really about celebrating BMX when you're out on the course of what you can do. So you don't want to be penalized if your run's not perfect, or you put a foot down, and they're a little bit more lenient with the rules, if that kind of makes sense. But we don't fully know in the booth what they're thinking up there, but we're going to see what they're thinking when that number comes in.
Boyd held his run to everyone locked into the simple session.
Park element and a street element, and Boyd is so proficient. Before I could say those words, he's back in the park. Nice rotation. And look at the hot bars. I believe that might have been a double truck. Hilder right now looking to just fuel it up. Oh, balancing on that front wheel. That was a foot jam. It's known as a Canadian foot jam when you're pointed back into the coping. He had a little bit too much throttle on that, and he saved it by dropping into a Smith stall. Take a look at what was so perfectly executed through the bars 2 times around. But right here, going for that Canadian foot jam stall. He has no brakes on his bike, so he uses his foot to find that sweet balance point. Charging back towards the box, and you see he just kind of shakes the bike a little bit on that backflip.
A guy who was absolutely hyped to make the top 15 was 19-year-old Miller Temple.
What do I want to focus on, not only for my first hit in the park, but also what are the lines going to be throughout the course? A little bit more of a polished run, because you have to only have one run in the 60 seconds to get it done. But that was a big combination. You saw the way he threw the handlebars and then tucked them into his lap to have that momentum. That downside 360 tail whip over the box jump backwards is so challenging to do, because as I mentioned, coming in over that jump backwards, you have a steeper landing, your margin of error is going to be different, and dare I say, Miller made that look so easy. It almost looked like he just jumped the box so casually, but there's not many riders in the world that can really pull that smooth going backwards over the box jump like that.
Whole final today, repping Hyper, to 17-year-old Katie Ozawa, coming out of Japan.
Street or blend it together. Dropping in for some extra speed off the box, and look at that 3-hit combo, 360 bar spin to downside tail whip. Yes, the 360 bar spin really smooth, and look at the height, James. I believe that was a triple bar spin. Again, if we can't see from our perspective, the judges have the perfect vantage point and are able to very accurately see everything.
No, absolutely. I much prefer being in here calling tricks with 0 consequences. He landed that whip on the quarter, on the big quarter a little low, which killed some of his speed, but he's managed to really get that rhythm going back again, just absolutely flying around the courses, Katie. Nice stuff for Katie Ozawa.
So we're seeing riders focus a lot more on the... Let's take a look at some of his highlights. And one thing I want to really talk about with this Nate Wessel design course, the quality is phenomenal out here. It's not just, even though this is only here for a week, barely even a week, The design is so strong, and the bottom of the ramps in particular, riders can really pump into the transition and generate speed. Sometimes when you have a temporary course, it can flex a lot and you can't really build that momentum. The reason I bring that up is if a rider can really build his or her speed in this contest, they're gonna shine even a little bit more above the other riders because you can just generate so much out there.
You know it, that's all me. You know it, that's